Hello and welcome to another exclusive review and expose by me, Alex Belfield, here at celebrityradio.biz. We're the #1 reviewer of theatre for Las Vegas and the UK, including the West End. Now, we've got an interesting one for you today. We interviewed a lovely man called Sam Willis, who plays the part of Tapeface. He shot to fame on America's Got Talent and now has a residency in Las Vegas. Well, we've got into a bit of a row with him on Twitter because it came to our attention in May that Tapeface had an understudy, TF2. However, it doesn't seem like the public are told that they're seeing TF2. They're expecting TF1, who is Sam. You'll see an interview with Sam afterwards. A lovely man and hugely talented, hysterical act. A brilliant show at a very affordable price, but not if you think you're getting a star that doesn't appear. Just because you wear makeup and put a bit of tape over your face does not give you the right to use an understudy without telling the public. I have a problem with this. I'm going to read you his statements on Twitter so that there's no confusion or avoidance of doubt. However, it doesn't stack up in my opinion. Tapeface basically is using a guy when he's in the UK on tour in September and October, so he won't be in Las Vegas, so you'll get Tapeface too. Technically an understudy. I put this to him and he responded, "If the performance was bad, the audience wouldn't be happy. It's one of the reasons we keep the show to my standards and our other Tapeface continues to receive standing ovations in Vegas." Okay, I get that, but are they clapping who they think is Tapeface 1? Or are they clapping the guy that's the understudy Tapeface 2? The problem Sam's got, you see, is if you put Tapeface into Google, it comes up with comedian Sam Willis. That's who you expect to see. Akin to if I pay to see Celine Dion, I don't expect the woman from Legends who does an impersonation to come on in her place. All I've asked him 6 times is, does he tell the public when they buy a ticket? And he refuses to answer the question. I wrote back to him and basically said, "You've deliberately missed the point. I'm not denying the act is funny. I simply want to know, do you tell the public? Also, will TF1 play the UK or Vegas when you're on tour in September, October?" Here's what Tapeface said. "You do know that Tapeface is a character, yeah? I am sure if Seinfeld was a character who wore a costume with the right training and direction, you could absolutely present his comedy. That's called acting." So he still avoids my question. So I'm going to read you what happens next. He made a slur about me not liking John Katz. "I kind of see how John Katz finds you annoying," he says. John Katz is the newspaper. We know that's a dead medium. He's the only reporter in Vegas currently who writes reviews about shows he hasn't seen. He admitted that to me and told me that he just prints facts from press releases, making him instantly deletable and not credible. So we'll move on from that slur. However, he did reply, "I can absolutely confirm that I will be touring the UK in September and our T2 will be presenting the same standard of show here in Vegas during that time." I've been on the website, by the way, and it doesn't say that. I've asked him to point me in the direction of where it does say it, and he hasn't responded. "I can also confirm that T2 will be presenting the show in South Korea later this year, as we are a very international show." Says you can also make a video to point out that Absinthe is presenting a second Gazillionaire and deceiving their audiences. Funny, that's character acting too. Well, that's different, you see, because the Gazillionaire didn't go on national TV, America's Got Talent, and get a personal fan base. This is what Tapeface doesn't understand. He made a fan base through a reality TV show which got him this show in Las Vegas. He didn't have the show before that program. Therefore, my opinion is people who saw him on it, a little bit like Piff the Magic Dragon. If Piff suddenly came out with an understudy to do his show, would people be upset? Well, according to Tapeface's theory, no, they wouldn't, because he's playing a character. It's bollocks. We are always developing plans, and at this stage we keep them to ourselves as we work on them. This is in response to my question, can you confirm whether you tell the audiences before they buy a ticket that they're getting Tapeface 2? Announcements are always made, and when we do, we proudly shout them from the rooftops. Again, avoids answering the question, so I ask him again, can you please confirm whether you tell the punters? He says, I was developing my residency before AGT even aired, but it didn't happen before it aired. That's my point. Vegas was always a goal and part of the overall plan. Well, it's also part of my plan, love. I'd love a residency at the Coliseum. Let's see if I get it. We do our best to be transparent with audiences and will continue to do so through box office and brokers' websites. Well, I can't see it anywhere, so where is it? I've asked him, he didn't reply. Show quality is the #1 priority. Yeah, if you're using an understudy, which you should make clear. this conversation is done, and he refused to answer any more questions, which is absolutely fine. So we're putting this to you. Don't go and see Tapeface if you want to see Tapeface when he's on tour in the UK in September and October, and also other points in the year. We were made aware of this in May when I was in town, that there were TripAdvisor reviews, and I asked around, and this happens quite regularly, where Sam, Tapeface 1, doesn't appear and he uses his understudy, Tapeface 2. I think this is immoral. I think it's cheating the audience, and it's certainly not in the spirit of show business. We wish the show well. It is funny. We're not denying that. We're not denying that Tapeface is brilliant and a great character. But to use the analogy that Tapeface is like Blue Man Group is wrong, because I can't interview a Blue Man. They do not speak. I interviewed Tapeface, and they gave me Sam without his tape to talk about that character. It therefore dispels the myth, as Tapeface sees it, that Tapeface is an anonymous character that can be played by anyone. No, it's played by Sam Willis, and if you don't get that, I would love to see both back to back to decide whether these are of equal standard. I would never believe facts in a press release, like the only print reporter on that dying medium of newspapers in Las Vegas. So there we are, another expose of Las Vegas. They never cease to amaze me with their clever deceptions and tricks to sell tickets. Once again, be aware, you might not get the original Tapeface off America's Got Talent. You might get, as they call it in the West End, first cover. If first cover's so good, why doesn't he do the show permanently? You've been listening to another updated review by me, Alex Belfield, here at celebrityradio.biz, where last year we had over 12 million minutes viewed on YouTube. You can check out all of our hundreds of interviews and reviews at www.celebrityradio.biz. Ta-da! Welcome back to Celebrity Radio. It's Alex Belfield. Talk to some of my favourite people and some of the world's biggest stars. We've got one, Tapeface. How are you?
Tapeface is doing pretty well.
And no tape on your face?
No tape. I thought I'd decide to do it as myself. That way it's a bit more talkative from my end anyway. What's
it like going from an act that's sort of tried to be a success around the world to getting your own showroom in Vegas with your own thing on every chair?
It's pretty strange. I never intended it to be taken this seriously, I suppose. I think because I started out with this act as kind of a hobby to my old show, and it just kind of took over, and then I found myself not doing my old show but doing more oven gloves and more horses' heads.
What I love about you, I mean, you're such a genuine act. You seem to love it, and it seems to be from the heart. Some people do an act that isn't necessarily them, and they struggle to succeed.
No, this is very much, I kind of envision the character of Tapeface as myself at the age of 9, so it's a healthy way of sorts of me keeping young. And also, when I'm writing new material, it is just fun. It's just playing and being silly and listening to lots of good music and just trying to find the immature, silly jokes hiding amongst everyday objects.
I'd written down on my piece of paper the question about what it's like sort of going from gig to gig, night to night. But then again, I've just found out that one minute you're in Florida, next week you're in England, you're here tonight. So your life is still on the road.
It's still very much on the road. It is the novelty of where I actually had my first holiday in 5 years last week. So it was quite fun to travel without props, which I've never done before. And it's amazing. Yeah, 40 pounds is a lot of luggage when you're actually allowed to carry other things. I'm normally carrying, toilet seats and all sorts of other nonsense with me, but no, it's pretty fun.
Is it a grubby existence being a stand-up comedian? Because I mean, they're not necessarily flying you first class. They're not necessarily putting you in the best suite in the hotel. It's a tough life, isn't it?
It can be. The touring is normally the toughest. We went at the start of this year. We did a tour and we had a Sprinter van. There was 5 of us, and so we'd be in a hotel at night. But that van, we'd have to clear it out every few days. It would become a bit too much like a teenage boy's bedroom.
Yeah, I think you need one of those little trees to sort of take you around.
We had a few of those. Don't worry.
Tell us about the show for those who haven't seen it. I mean, most people will have seen you probably on the telly more than live.
Yeah, if anything, more on YouTube. That's where I think most viral videos and that sort of thing pop up that way. But the show, I consider it's stand-up comedy without talking. I use everyday objects and people in funny different ways with a lot of 80s and 90s music.
And the interesting thing about not talking is you've got to work twice as hard.
Well, there is a bit of that. Sometimes I work twice as hard, but other times I do nothing at all because it's my job is to not tell the audience what's going on. And that's the funny thing, is that I know exactly what's supposed to happen, but I'm the only one who can't talk.
Have you got your head around Vegas yet? Because it's a very strange place, isn't it? I mean, here you are opposite Celine Dion and Elton John and Rod Stewart, and then here you are in your own showroom doing your thing. Next door is David Copperfield, the other side is Frederick De Silva. It's a bizarre world.
It's an extremely bizarre world. I got stuck here for a week last year when British Airways, their website went down, and so I couldn't fly home. So what happened was I just got to hang out and watch everything. And when you look at Las Vegas as Grand Theft Auto, it makes perfect sense. There's little missions, there's little gangs, there's little clubs. It's the logic there.
Is it a beautiful community to be part of? I mean, one of the great things about you, I hear lovely things. I mean, if you're a bit of an asshole, they're going to find out quick.
Yeah, I think the community's small enough to be supportive, but also small enough to know that you shouldn't be a dick.
And what about the buffet? So you're avoiding those? You seem to be pretty slim.
I'm working on it. I was actually at the gym today. If anything, I used to do an old show where I used to push my body through a tennis racket, and I'm thinking about pulling out that racket just to see how far off I am, and I might start write a book, The Tennis Racket Diet.
And then we look at your past. I mean, coming from where you did Down Under, I mean, you were born really to be an Edinburgh Fringe act, weren't you? And to be in London, because we so embrace what you do, and it's not surprising that you've spent so long in England.
Yeah, I actually, back in New Zealand and Australia, I gave up stand-up comedy to go back to being a street performer, and when I made that decision, that was the thing to go to Covent Garden. So I ended up being in Covent Garden for 2 years and just banging out street shows, and it made me absolutely a much better performer. If anything, I recommend any comedian and act, even Vegas act, go street perform for 3 months and then talk to me.
It takes a lot of time and effort. I wonder how you deal with that constant people looking at you thinking you're a moron and walking off. I mean, it's backbone building, isn't it?
Absolutely. It's the I call it the bungee jumping of comedy, because you've got no outs and you just got to go for it and hope for the best.
Is it still as exciting as it was? I mean, the community of special acts, if you like, or acts like you that are completely different, that find themselves in Edinburgh every year. Is there still as many people wanting to do it, as many new acts and original acts?
I believe so. I think it was interesting. When I first went to Edinburgh in 2010, there weren't very many silent clown comedians, and now in Edinburgh there's a selection of few, and actually a lot of them have won a lot of the awards in Edinburgh now, which is fantastic. So I think comedy's just opening out again. I think there's always an evolution of comedy. Like, you can go back to when sketch comedy was king and all the talkie comedy and shock comedy, and now we've just maybe had the era of clowns, and that's our job as clowns, is to keep it going for as long as possible.
And that's what's beautiful about your act. If you boil it down, this is a very old sort of format that's being made relevant for 2018, and that's what's so clever about what you've done. You've taken the beautiful heart of clowning and comedy and made it relevant for today.
Yeah, the one thing we try and avoid to do with my show is avoid the mime word, because there's such a stigma with the word mime that you're forever trapped in a box and walking against the wind. So if anything, I'm probably the loudest mime in Vegas.
How much effort does it take? I mean, I look at what you do on stage, and it's so physical and it's so demanding. Is it sort of second nature now, or are you still in the moment every second of it?
Sometimes it can be a bit second nature. Other times, I've had a couple of really good clown teachers give me weird advice to keep me on my toes and make me rethink it. And then for me, the other one that I always go back to is that the audience that night have paid to see a show that they've been told about or heard about, so I have to do them the right justice of giving them the show that they're living up to.
And you made that choice to go on a talent show, which is interesting, because I know every decent actor I've ever met have been begged to go on it. Some say yes, some say no. It worked out for you. I think it's only a risk if you're a bit crap.
Yeah, I think you've got to have absolutely. Sometimes that's exactly what they're looking for as well. I think for me, I was pretty lucky where I went into that show with my eyes wide open about what I wanted to get out of it, and knew that I was able to provide good TV, and having that back catalogue of material to pull on was just, it saved my bacon quite a few times.
And you mentioned earlier how interesting the business has changed. I mean, no amount of seats in this room will even equal what you'll get on YouTube today.
Oh, yeah.
It almost makes this pointless now, doesn't it? It's very interesting how the whole thing shifted, and that sort of on-demand click outweighs anything live.
Yeah, it does, but at the same time, that online click then triggers over to the other side of that live performance. So you got back in the day of performers like Bo Burnham, like he was just in his bedroom with a piano, the teenage boy kind of thing, and now he's, a superstar around the world. And there's also now there's YouTube stars selling out arenas in all over the countries now. They're playing Warcraft, and people, thousands of tickets are buying. These kids just watching another guy talking about the game he's playing. But that's kind of the culture we're in.
Slightly depressing, isn't it? That with no talent and no ability to speak, you can sell out an arena.
You can, but have you played Warcraft? It's Minecraft, isn't it? I've got no idea.
What's it like for you going back to Edinburgh? I mean, having your own Vegas show almost makes that redundant in a way, but there's still something special about turning up there.
The Edinburgh Fringe, there's always going to have a place for me, I think, because I went there as a street performer, and then I slowly rose through the ranks and started doing the bigger venues. And also also with the Fringe, I make sure that I'm taking 2 shows back this year. So one is my main show, which is a whole new hour of new material, but we're actually for the first time I'm taking my own Fringe show. So it's a really weird, and it's an online social media event show, because I'm going to ride that as well. I'm going to get in. That's what people want to see. So I've tried to work out how I can write my own fringy style to my own mainstream event.
Give them what they want. And then we look at your past. I mean, you didn't always do this type of comedy. You were mainstream for a while. How do you know it's worth progressing with something like this, like Tapeface, and that it's not just a crap idea that's going to be mocked and lost in the history of time?
I've been plagiarised left, right and centre, so I know it's good. There are some random acts who I get sent videos of performers in India and Brazil of people doing the man with tape on his face and tape head and mime face and all sorts of stuff. So if people are willing to copy it, then I must be doing something right.
How did you come up with it? I mean, was it one of those sort of genius moments where it just came in your head, or was it a mixture of things you'd seen?
It was a bit of a combination. I won a comedy award in New Zealand in 2005. I won the biggest comedy award you could win, and everyone expected me to keep doing these shows where I talked more. So I worked on a silent character. I went to the comedy club and I lasted about 20-30 seconds before ruining it, and came back the next night because I'd spoken to the audience and ruined it. And a comedian backstage said to me the only way I could do a silent act is if I gaffer tape my mouth shut. And that was it. It was just a flippant comment from him, and we found some gaffer tape, put it on, and we just thought it looked really funny, and it helped me a treat to shut up. Yeah, well, if anything, it was born out of necessity rather than an idea.
I hope this guy has free tickets forever to come in.
I never mention his name. I never say his name. Funny that, isn't it?
And do you love it? I mean, when you walk through the casino, I mean, it's blatantly obvious who stars are when they walk because you look different, and that's so important. Do you enjoy embodying the character?
I don't. Well, again, there's so much of myself in the character. There's a weird kind of crossover, and Vegas is it's an advertising town. So for me to be going out and about and grabbing a drink after the show, I'm a walking billboard.
Yeah, and you've got to be now, haven't you? Because it is a game of marketing. This is a town that will kick you out in a heartbeat if you don't do it.
Absolutely, yeah, you've got to play the game to a degree. But at the same time, I can still go home, take off the makeup, wash my hair, and play a PlayStation.
Well, and this is what's beautiful as well, that you get to come and go. I noticed that I was really lucky this time to get you for a month when you're here, but then again, you'll be off for the summer for Edinburgh, and you come and go, and that must be brilliant to pick and choose because it still makes you want to come back.
Absolutely, it keeps Vegas fresh. I think that's the other thing, is you don't want to be in Vegas for too long a stretch of time, because you have to realise that, yes, they call Vegas the entertainment capital of the world, but there is a world out there that still needs entertaining.
And especially in Britain, we still love comedy so much, and I think it's still bigger in England than anywhere else in the world. The arenas we sell out.
Yeah, and also I think it's a different... I don't want to say a different level of comedy, but it is. There's an audience. Audiences are brutal in the UK. That's the thing. They give you that harsher feedback. I think here in America, they're rooting for you. They're keen to go. They want the show to be a success. Whereas in the UK, they're happy if it goes wrong. They want to see that magical show. But at the same time, if it goes right and you win them over, that's a joy as well.
We almost love a flop more than a hit.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
What's this town like in terms of the punters? I mean, this is a drinking town, and we see those sort of 7-foot glasses that they carry around drinking all day. Is there a point in your show where you want them merry, but they can be too merry and it sort of ends up in chaos?
Again, with the character in the show, we've done this weird crossover where we appeal to families and stag do's and bachelor parties and hen parties and what sort of thing. So we've had a couple of incidents here. We've had a few drunk party crews that we've had to get security come down and take out, which have been fun, and they do kind of add to the show. But at the same time, no, I like them all. They're all pretty good, and I've got enough gaffer tape I can hold my own.
And I love that you're so clever as well. You don't need to go crude. It would be easy with an act like this to go there, wouldn't it?
Yeah, but for me, it's easier just to make them so that they, I give them enough rope they can hang themselves.
Beautiful. And as for the show tonight, I mean, all these people turning up, do you still pinch yourself that people, A, know who you are, B, that you've got a showroom with your own name? It's pretty impressive.
It's absolutely crazy, really, yeah. My parents think I'm an accountant.
They're the last people you show your invoices to. Hey, listen, Sam, nice to meet you. Thank you so much. Great to see you. You can see him here at Hara's in Las Vegas. We've got Edinburgh Fringe coming up and other festivals as well this year.
Currently just those two, but there's 2 shows at the Fringe and, more shows here.
Great. Go to Hara's via the Caesars website and we can see you here. Tapeface at Hara's. Thank you for your time.
No problems at all.